And today is our first debate, and joining us in the studio is Paul Gilligan, who is a Democrat running for District 3B state delegate. Along with him is Michael Hough as well, delegate candidate for District 3B. And AAA Adam Avery, the timekeeper, is here. How you doing, Adam?
What's up, buddy?
All right. Well, listen, we are going to get right into the debate. We are not going to be taking calls during the debate. We've got a format we think is the best workable format for a setting like this, knowing that we have limited time. We want to give both these gentlemen the maximum amount of time to answer questions that have come in both from the audience. I reached out to both parties through the central committees, asked for questions back from them. So these questions that we're going to ask are a combination of questions that we receive from the listeners, myself, what Adam's come up with, and other people that have weighed in on this. So the rules of the debate are going to be fairly easy to follow. Each candidate is going to be given a minute for an opening statement. Each candidate will be then allowed to respond to questions for 2 minutes. The other candidate who was not asked the question will be given a minute to answer the question or rebut what the other candidate said. And then there will be another chance for a counter rebuttal by the person who was asked the first question. We're going to try these rules out and see how they work. We're trying to maximize some free flow discussion between the two of you over some very important issues. Every third question, Paul, you'll be able to ask Michael a question, and Michael, you'll be able to ask Paul a question. And then the rules follow. And then finally, we'll close with having closing statements that will be 2 minutes in length, and we'll wind up the debate. So, all right, so out of the gate, why don't we start out with the introductory statements, and we'll start with you, Paul.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. What brought me to the table, and the reason I'm interested in running for this office, is that while I was mayor in Burkittsville, I came to have an interest in rural and agricultural preservation. And that was rather a difficult thing to do in the sense that most people said, why would you bother? The county is developing. They won't give you the time of day when you talk about preservation. Well, we managed to preserve a great deal of farmland. If you drive out to Burkittsville, you'll see what we're able to do. Now, the model we used was basically preservation and directed development, which turned out to have a great success. And I think this could be applied in a larger area, the district. And that's important because the discussion is how much and when we develop. But if we do not control the process at all, what happens is we do a checkerboard development, and what we will eventually do is kill off the agricultural engine in this county, which is not something we want to do. So we want to do directed development into high-intensity corridors and eventually bring in light rail so we have a vibrant and job-growing in Frederick County.
Very good. Michael?
Michael Hough. I'm the Republican nominee for the Maryland House of Delegates, and I live in Brunswick with my wife and our 2 children. Mm-hmm. And I'm running, I think, the number one issue I see. I've knocked on 6,000 doors, over 6,000 now. And the number one issue that I hear over and over again from voters is taxes. We're now the 4th highest tax state in the nation. And that creates a problem not only on our pocketbooks, it makes it hard in a recession, but it makes it hard with jobs. Because entrepreneurs, small business owners, and large businesses do not want to come to Maryland. We've seen it time and time again. So my priority, and it will be working to cut taxes, working to bring more jobs to the area by helping small business owners, helping entrepreneurs, making Maryland more business-friendly, more open to free market policies. And that's why I'm running.
Okay, very good. All right, first question for you, Michael. Do you support restoring highway funds to the counties and municipalities? The gas tax, registration, and title fees and other fees go to fund state transportation projects. They're paid to Annapolis by us. How will you protect our hard-earned money if elected?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, it was absolutely shameful what Governor Martin O'Malley did. They had a $2 billion budget shortfall. And in order to close that, they went and raided a bunch of different trust funds. And, of course, the Transportation Trust Fund is the one that's usually raided. And this time, we even lost our local county share of our Transportation Trust Funds. And what it is, the way the Transportation Trust Fund is put together is with gas tax revenue, titling tax revenue, fees you pay at the MVA. And those fees are supposed to go, especially the gas tax. The gas tax is made that it's a user fee. When you drive your car, you're paying the gas tax to pay to have your roads improved. That's how it's supposed to work. The more you drive, the more cars, the more money that goes to roads. Unfortunately, in Maryland, for every $1 of gas taxes, only about 40 cents actually makes it to the roads because we're diverting that money into mass transit and other things. So in my opinion, we shouldn't be doing that. First off, we should prohibit the governor and the legislature from taking money from the Transportation Trust Fund. That should not be allowed to happen anymore. We cannot balance our budget with transportation dollars. And second off, we need to make sure that gas tax money that's supposed to go to roads, actually goes to roads. It shouldn't be going to subsidize light rail in Baltimore City. It shouldn't be going to all these mass transit projects. It needs to go to fix the roads. Our roads are in disrepair here. They're in bad shape. As somebody that commutes down the road to 270, I've sat in it. It's terrible. And, we need to widen that. That's something that, that shouldn't happen in the next 40 or 50 years. We need to start on that now. So that's something that I care deeply about.
Okay. Paul?
The answer to that is, frankly, the gas tax that people talk about is a transportation support tax, is really what it boils down to. And that tax has to be used in the best way possible. If there's a budget deficit, you better start balancing a budget. That has to be done. You don't start losing bond ratings or over this notion that we have to keep it in one pot and one pot only. Besides, I want that money too, but I want it in light rail. I want the transportation to be improved in the county, but I want to see it as light rail, not another a highway that'll be blocked up about 30 days after it gets built. I want some alternatives. Light rail is something that at least you can understand is ecumenical in how people use it. You pay your fee, you get to go down whether you own a car or not. The use of funds has to be much more flexible than simply saying we throw it in a pot, leave it in a pot, no one else can touch it because it's somehow sacrosanct. The issue for the state is we need to balance a budget, and that's a fact of life. There is no getting around that. So if something got rated for a year, we will correct that. I just want that transportation money to come back to us in any form we can get it back to us. And if it's light rail, so be it. I think that is something I would like to see. And simply saying that we need it in another road is not going to solve our problems.
All right.
I just want to respond real quick. Sure. And it's not just we rated it 1 year. We've been rating it consistently. It's happened under, administration under administration. We have rated and stolen that money. So when you drive around and you see that the roads are in such...
I'm glad to see you said under several administrations.
It has.
Not one administration.
It's unfortunately happened. It started, Paris Glendenning rated lots. Unfortunately, it happened under Governor Ehrlich, and it's happened again under Martin O'Malley. Martin O'Malley's been one of the worst offenders of it. So... that money's supposed to go to roads. When you drive around and you see traffic and congestion and you wonder why our roads are second worst only to the Los Angeles area, that's why. Because your money that's supposed to go into the Transportation Trust Fund is rated to balance the budget every year.
Let me just say, if our roads are that bad, I want you to drive outside the state of Maryland and see what other people have to put up with.
All right. Adam, you're up.
What are the rules? Who am I asking a question to?
Anyone
Mr.
you
Gilligan.
want.
All right, Mr. Gilligan. From your website, it says that you just received support from the AFL-CIO. You've received... a letter of support from the United Transportation Union, and you've also been endorsed by the teachers of Frederick County. The AFL-CIO...
Don't leave out Sierra now. I do have an environmental streak in me.
And Sierra as well. Okay. So my question to you would be, why is it important to have the backing and endorsement of unions, and what does that tell us, the voter, about you?
Actually, it's kind of a good question because, remember, I put my website up. I do my campaigning. I have to solicit help wherever I can. My ideas come first. It's not the other way around. So when I put something on paper that I want support for light rail and education, who comes to say, well, okay, we agree with that point of view. So that's how I got their support. It was the idea first that transportation is important for this area, and we need to build something new, useful, and kind of unique. And the other thing is I value education. If they would never have come to my table at all if I did not tell them I value education. That was very, very important to me.
Okay. Mr. Hough, do you have any sort of rebuttal as to why unions might endorse one candidate over another?
Yeah, I mean, it's typical. Unions typically endorse Democrats, and for somebody like me, I can tell you why. I support right-to-work laws. It's not that I'm anti-union. I just think you should have a choice whether you have to join a union or not. So if you want to go to a job, you shouldn't have these closed-shop policies where in order to work there, you have to join the union. And the teachers are a good example, too. You shouldn't have to pay and join the teachers union in order to be a teacher. That should be up to you. And I think of it as they're using it for a political advantage. So now you have all these dues that are forcibly taken from teachers. They go to the teachers union, and the teachers union endorses a bunch of Democrats with it. So it's not a surprise. It's unfortunately the way it works. And it's not anti-union, but for me, I just disagree with forcing people to join unions. In this country, you should have the ability, the choice to join a group or not join a group.
I just want to remind people, when you're in a shop, everyone gets the benefits from the negotiations that the union provides. We don't discriminate on benefits, so everyone gets the share. So that means when you're in a shop, you need to support your union because they're going to negotiate on your behalf.
Paul, real quickly, how about the people that don't want to be in the union, though? They're sort of
Are they
forced
going to
into
give
it.
up the benefits? The point is you have to work collectively for the benefits that a company or a service provide. And if you can't tweeze apart individuals who didn't bother to join, yet they're going to receive those benefits no matter what. That's why you're in a shop, and if it's a union shop, you join the union because you're going to get the same amount of pay everyone else in that shop will get.
All right, we're proceeding right ahead. Listen, we do have to take breaks in between. We still have to pay the bills here on Mid-Maryland Live. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages.